They say he stabbed a god. They say 50,000 soldiers vanished into the desert sands as punishment for his arrogance. But what if none of it actually happened? What if Cambyses II wasn't a mad king, but a ruler whose story was shaped by exaggeration and fear? The legendary Lost Army of Cambyses. One of the most enduring and dramatic legends of ancient Persia is the story of Cambyses' lost army. According to the Greek historian Herodotus, after conquering Egypt, Cambyses sent a force of 50,000 soldiers across the harsh western desert, aiming to destroy the Oracle of Ammon at the Siwa Oasis, a sacred site to many local tribes. The tale goes that this entire army vanished without trace, swallowed by a sudden and massive sandstorm believed to be divine punishment for Cambyses' arrogance and disrespect toward the gods. This story, vivid and terrifying, has stirred imaginations for centuries. The idea of a vast Persian army lost to the merciless desert sands has become a symbol of hubris punished by fate. Explorers, historians, and storytellers have all been fascinated by the myth of this vanished force. However, the reality revealed by modern archaeology is far more nuanced. For over a century, archaeologists have conducted extensive searches across the Egyptian deserts where the army was said to have disappeared. Some scattered skeletal remains, alongside Persian-style weapons such as bronze arrows, horse gear, and remnants of armor, have indeed been found. These discoveries confirm that groups of Persian soldiers died in these regions. But crucially, the number of human remains and artifacts found is minuscule compared to what would be expected from 1,000 or more, let alone 50,000 soldiers. This evidence strongly suggests that if any disaster befell the Persian forces, it likely affected only a small detachment, possibly an advance party or scouts exploring the harsh desert terrain, not the entire army. The legendary figure of 50,000 soldiers is now widely regarded as an exaggeration, likely inflated over time to create a more sensational story that carried political and narrative weight. Several historians propose alternative theories regarding the fate of the army. One significant hypothesis suggests the Persian force engaged in battle with Egyptian rebels led by Herodotus III, who held the nearby Dakhla oasis. This perspective posits that the Lost Army was not swallowed by supernatural sandstorms, but was defeated militarily in the hostile desert environment. Despite the romantic and dramatic allure of the story, the archaeological record has yet to provide conclusive evidence supporting the mass disappearance of 50,000 soldiers. Instead, it paints a picture of sporadic deaths and skirmishes in a harsh desert environment, far from the total annihilation described in the legend. Thus, while the tale of the Lost Army remains a vivid and powerful legend, the archaeological record indicates it is more myth than fact, a story shaped by centuries of retelling rather than a literal historical event. The case of the sacred bull. Herodotus, often called the father of history, tells a dramatic tale. He claims that after suffering a defeat during his campaigns in Egypt, Cambyses II returned to Memphis and witnessed the Egyptians celebrating. Mistaking their festival for mockery of his loss rather than for the inauguration of the sacred Apis bull, Cambyses became enraged and stabbed the sacred bull in the thigh, a living god in the eyes of the Egyptians. According to the Greek historian, this act showed the Persian king's contempt for religion and confirmed his insanity. But the archaeological evidence tells a very different story. At Saqqara's Serapeum, a sarcophagus from Cambyses' reign shows that he personally arranged a proper burial for an Apis bull, honoring it as a monument for his father, Apis Osiris. Rather than a tyrant mocking the gods, here is a king performing his sacred duties. The likely explanation? Herodotus drew on accounts from certain Egyptian priests and nobles who had lost status during the Persian administration. In their resentment, they portrayed Cambyses as a violent and impious ruler. Herodotus, writing centuries later and relying on these traditions, may have repeated their stories without realizing how biased his sources were. The real turning point in Cambyses' life, the shadow over his legacy, was not in Egypt, but back home with a single name, Bardia. In the next episode, we'll explore the mysterious fate of his brother, the ambiguous death of Cambyses, and the rise of Darius, a story that remains one of the most puzzling chapters in Persian history.